Hi everybody, this is Abhyuday Agarwal from Law Seco. Today we are having a session on the drafting skills needed for young lawyers to find paid part-time work. Okay, two categories of work, either as a junior lawyer or as an intern for a senior. Okay, how to get internships or jobs as a junior, and it could mean uh, getting stipend as an intern. Okay, or just one sec, mute everybody. Getting a stipend as an intern or earning a survival income as a junior more than your peers. Okay. So for everybody who's working as a junior lawyer, you'd have known that, earning a good sum of money from as a junior lawyer is challenging. So we're going to look at what you can do to achieve that. Okay. Who is this for? Young lawyers and law students. If you want to learn it, so there's going to be a channel, right, to achieve this goal. What's that channel? If you want to learn introductory drafting skills and actually be able to draft stuff, okay, whether it pertains to contracts or civil petitions or criminal petitions, okay, and this would enable you to access opportunities for internships or to work as a junior. So, okay, this is not necessarily a, like working in a corporate law firm directly. Okay, it is introductory. It will not. So you have to keep that in mind. Okay, like if you're somebody with 5 years of experience and you want to, build your own independent practice, this webinar may not be for you, right? Okay, now let's look at a few situations. How would it be if you had an abundance of opportunities to intern, like, three internships that you got to choose from, and you're actually planning out your time? Which vacation uh, do I intern where? Okay, and you have three offers for internship. How would it be if you've graduated or you're graduating and you've got three seniors who've told you that, why don't you come and join me as soon as you graduate, and I'm going to pay you a I'm going to pay you a monthly salary of say 30,000 a month. Okay. For a lot of us, even finding a senior is a big challenge. Whom do we choose to intern with? Most seniors don't pay at all. Like 5,000 or 10,000 is what we get from a lot of senior lawyers. So what would it take for you to be able to, move to a 25,000, 30,000 at least? Okay. What would it take? How would you feel if, because of your contribution in the office where you're working at as an intern or as a junior? Okay, I'm going to mute everyone. Hang on. Can't unmute. Okay. How would you feel if, because of your contribution in the office, your senior could take up more clients? Okay, so you don't have to learn client development at the moment. You don't have to learn how to go out there and get clients. But because of you, if your senior can serve three more clients in a month also, how would that be? What impact would that have on your value in the office, on the kind of work you got and the salary that you got? Okay. Um, how would it be if the best work in the office came to you? How would it be if you obtained 30 to 100% more salary as a junior to a lawyer or as an intern? In the next hour, you will have some clear actions to get started with your plans. Those who stay in this webinar will also receive a free practice exercise in a template of a simple confidentiality agreement. The goal is that, we're looking at drafting skills as one set. While you can say that drafting skills are super specialized, contracts is different, court petitions are different, arbitration is different. Now here we're looking at all of this as an integrated whole in a simplified form. Okay, so we will share a template and an exercise with you to give you a sense of, what kind of things you should be able to draft even at an introductory level, so that you can get this kind of work or perform this kind of work. Okay, we're not teaching you today. We're not going into how to get clients. We are saying how to make your senior's life easier. Okay. Now, questions to think of. Is finding an internship a challenge in these times? Is it a challenge to find substantial work in an internship? So if you get an internship, do you find it challenging to get really important work or work which has value? Are you getting menial tasks? Are you finding that you don't have enough work in the internship? This happens to a lot of people who intern even in big law firms or in a senior's office. This often happens, right? Do you envy batchmates, seniors, and students from other law schools if they get an internship or a PPO in a great place? And do you feel worried about yourself in that situation? Does So this happens a lot of times, right? You've been working hard, you've been worried, you're studying hard, getting good grades, or you're trying to participate in college activities, but it's a lot of, there's this huge uncertainty that others may actually be, uh, others who get jobs, you feel that, I wish I would be in that position. I don't know if I will be able to get there. And, what about these concerns about being a first generation lawyer, not being from a top NLU? Does that make you concerned that, and you may be from a top NLU or you may not, okay, but does it make you concerned that, how do I actually get the opportunities that I want? Just 1 minute. I am starting the YouTube broadcast also, right? So now so the real challenge, everybody, is not about getting jobs or internships or earning a stipend, okay? It is not that, really. Imagine that you work for a litigator or an independent lawyer who earns 1 lakh per month. In India, in India, if you look at a count, the number of registered lawyers is about 15 to 20 lakhs, okay? Approximately 2 lakh lawyers in India earn around 1 lakh per month, and 20,000 earn more than 5 lakhs. My numbers could be approximate, they could be off, but you can safely imagine that at least you'll have 50,000 lawyers who are earning more than 2 lakhs a month. Okay, that's a lot of lawyers. Now the thing is, what are they struggling with? What do they need to go to the next level? Okay, because these are the people who could engage you as a junior. Right now, what are they struggling with? They're struggling with identifying talented juniors. Okay, because they have to, and they're finding it difficult to train juniors. Even if they spend time, the training just about never seems to be enough. They are struggling with juniors making mistakes. They're struggling with having clients shout at them because there was something that in the document that they didn't check, which a junior had put in. Okay, they are struggling with the fact that maybe the junior had to follow a specific process which he or she didn't, and this was never documented. So you can't exactly say that this is the junior's fault, but the work didn't get done on time. They're struggling with delegating. They're thinking that maybe it's just better to do the work myself. What does it cost them? It costs them this, that they decide to do the work themselves, which means that they're not being able to grow their practice to the extent they possibly can. They decide to do all the work themselves, which means that they don't have as much time available. It cuts from the time available to build and nurture new clients. It doesn't give them enough time to build credibility. Okay, it doesn't give them enough time to go out and meet clients. Even in a virtual environment, they don't have enough time. If you learn how to draft real litigation documents, even if you start with 4 or 5 documents, a suit, a written statement, an application for interim injunction, 4 contracts, 4 criminal litigation documents, and then, and if you can help them with that, okay, and you reduce their time by 30%, I'll give you a real count. If they have a 60-hour work week, most lawyers in India, 60 hours means 10 hours a day. Lawyers in India easily work for 10 hours a day, 6 days a week. Okay, so if you give them, in the last webinar, if you all are counting a 40-hour or 48-hour work week, I counted that because I was talking from your point of view of convenience, not a realistic point of view. So that's why I took a different count. Here, if you get a realistic point of view, people work at least for 10 hours a day. 6 days a week, 10 hours is 60 hours. 30% of that is 18 hours. So if you can save even 30% of their time. So I'm not saying you will independently execute everything that they want. Okay? That's not what you will do. You will assist in a way that all the basics are sorted. They need to spend 30% less time than they would have earlier reviewing your stuff. Okay. If you save 30% of their time, that's 18 hours of free time every week. That's 72 hours in a month. Do you think they can use that time to get 3 new clients in a month? How many more matters can they take up? How much, if they charge at an average of even 20,000 per client, that's a 60,000 additional income. Okay, most lawyers will be charging more. It's 72 hours. I will not charge 60,000 because that means that I have charged less than 1,000 for an hour of work. Okay, so most lawyers will be able to charge at least about 1 lakh to 2 lakhs additional and add that to their monthly revenues. Would they pay you an additional 10 to 20,000 because you enable them to bill 1 to 2 lakhs more just because of your presence? Okay, now I know, we have a lot of complaint that seniors don't, a lot of young lawyers have this complaint that seniors don't value our effort, our intent, our time. Okay, but we fail to quantify, that how did we enable the senior to do better? Okay, and we also have this complaint that sometimes seniors, we're not able to get feedback on how to improve. And maybe it's just too many layers of education that we need. So What if you could actually measure this because of your contribution? If it was this clear, do you think a senior would not be willing to pay you an additional 10,000 also? Okay, would they want to call you back? Would they be interested in hiring you? Would they recommend you? What's your take on it? Please feel free to write on chat. Okay, so in the next 1 hour, what are we going to do? You will be able to identify what to do. Maybe 5 shifts you need to make to be able to have an abundance of opportunities as a young lawyer. Okay, and which is the pathway? There are many pathways, right? Like you want to go to a rock concert, you want to perform in a concert, then you got to be a musician or a singer, you know. So here, what's the channel? We want to get opportunities that pay us. We want an abundance of internship and job opportunities. We're going to use the channel of having drafting skills. There are many other skills you can acquire. This is one reliable channel that one can use. What do you need to know? Anybody who takes efforts in this area can start achieving real results in 2 to 3 months. Okay. I just got a message from somebody who's enrolled in our April 2020 batch of our contract drafting course. You know what that person said to me? She said that they were sharing some free content and educational material with startups on Instagram, and they just got 3 contracts to draft from a client. Okay. So, and this is somebody from the April 2020 batch. I was conducting a career development webinar on 6th June. Today is 16th. So about 10-11 days. And she tried a strategy I suggested, and they've got paid matters. Okay, three contracts to draft. So who am I and what have I done in this regard? So I've been involved since 2010. Before I graduated, started to look at how to help friends or how to help companies with training. And because we were not lawyers, we were identifying how to guide people through training or through risk identification through their contracts, by reviewing their contracts, by helping them execute contracts, to close down their risk by having contracts in place to map the risk and the cost of default on appropriate parties. Okay, so I did some work in helping an IIT incubated friend raise investment. I did some work in training about 50 business managers at a company on an electricity automation contract. Worked as a corporate lawyer from 2011 to 2012. Okay, and have done some corporate trainings on Porsche, anti-money laundering, industrial relations, labor laws, and on criminal law proceedings for under GST for tax litigators, so that they can improve their services to clients. Okay, so basically a lot of work on the rough edges of law where there are new opportunities. That's where the training has helped. And because I started early, it enabled me to identify new gaps in the process, right? Like looking at contracts as a way to identify risk. Okay, so also I worked on identifying productifiable solutions for a money recovery related startup in 2015 to 2016, and that was a hugely successful venture. What we did there was to commodify a legal service, break it down into parts so that it's easier for clients for customers to understand what is the legal service going to be all about. Okay, and so the lawyers who were there on the platform could actually offer that service, and in a phased manner. That really helped in building the trust of somebody who engaged with the platform. So now let's look at what the traditional way of securing job and internship opportunities is. So one of the things definitely is that we learn exclusively on the job. We depend on seniors to train us, which they do, but there's a limit on the available time that they have. We depend on our college's placement committee. This is a luxury available to some of us, not everybody, but not everybody still gets successful. Very few colleges have 100% placement track record. We rely on our college's brand. If it's an NLU, yes, then we rely on that. Or sometimes our parents or uncles' network to find opportunities. Sorry, this went 2 slides back. Okay. We expect, then what happens when we get a job or an opportunity? We expect that we'll be paid for our dedication and commitment and effort. But essentially what's happening, our real expectation is to be paid to learn, merely because we are investing time. Okay? And if you look at any young lawyer's grouse that I'm investing so much time and effort and not earning, it's this only, that our real expectation is to expect to be paid to learn. I know you will say I spent a lot of money and 5 years in college to earn my degree, and now why am I not getting paid? I completely understand you did that, but Unfortunately, we don't have all the skills in those 5 years if we just depended on our degree to be able to perform real work. This happens for a lot of us, right? So there may be some areas where there may be a gap. So we have a choice here. Do we acknowledge where the reality and where the gap is, or do we say, do we continue to complain? Okay, so what I'm doing here is sort of opening up as to why we have this kind of complaint. So what happens there is you're basically coming from an entitlement position that I should get a job now because I've spent 5 years studying. Now, in all this matters, what is happening is that uh, how do you demonstrate your ability through your CV, through certificates, through internships? But there is very little of real evidence to say that you can do some work. Everything is an indirect signal. I have a certificate that I did this course. Okay, but what can you do? So there's a gap over there. I have 5 great internships in tier 1 firms, one in real estate, one in something else, one in something else. But what can you do? No, I don't know. I researched on Companies Act, I diligenced some rent agreements, and that's it. What can you do? That's what happens in an interview, right? And that's where we get stuck because we are unable to sell ourselves in an interview. And it's not just a superficial selling skills, okay? It's a real ability we don't have, and therefore when we talk about it, it's we can't talk about it. And if we really had the ability, we'd talk about it in a different way. So if you say that, I'll get a CV consultation guy to help me out, that's usually on the top of things, right? That's not a real CV work that we'll be doing. So here's an opportunity to do real work that to improve your skills. So you need to find out a direct demonstrator of ability. What's the new way then? So the new way could be, okay, one of the new ways that we advocate is that use internships, assessment internships, any such opportunity or a job with a senior as a place to perform, okay, not to learn. You go trained with learning, okay, but it doesn't mean that you will not learn on the job. You will learn on the job, but that's the next level of learning. That's not the entry level of learning. So you be trained to the maximum extent possible, okay, with your drafting skills and learn to perform at the next level. Okay, now what is it? How do we do this? Okay, this is a great way I'm saying, but what is the actual evidence that I have for myself, right? That you need to know. So you need to go armed with a work portfolio. What is a work portfolio? Suppose I did a course and I drafted 12 contracts. Okay, can I go with a file? Do I have a PDF which shows all the 12 contracts I drafted? I might have got corrections in it. That's not a problem. But do I go forward with it or not? Okay, or I have a big network, for example. Okay, another example I'm saying, one is going with a work portfolio for an actual interview. Okay, another is having a network and history of prior interactions with people in your network. So let's say 20 senior lawyers over the past 3 months or 6 months. You've built that network, you've shared 3-4 articles with them, taken their inputs, improved them. Okay, and 7th month you need an opportunity. You say, sir, I'm looking for an opportunity to work. Could you refer me to someone, or do you know anybody who's hiring juniors at this moment? That's one level of conversation versus you using LinkedIn, or you scraping off an ID from a website and then saying that application for job opportunity to somebody who doesn't know you. See, trust is the biggest. Knowledge, familiarity, and trust is the biggest element for somebody to give you a job. But trust about what? Trust that you have the skills. Trust that you can deliver. So from nowhere, you've come up and you apply for a job or internship. Many of us do that, right? Now that's where the challenge happens. So we don't have a work portfolio. We suddenly appear in somebody's inbox or LinkedIn message and asking for a job or internship, which is a problem. So you need to have a direct way to establish that you can perform the work. Okay, now this is the direct way where you actually have the relationship. You actually have some published articles. You actually have a work portfolio of files. Okay, and what are the shifts? I said that you can do this. Now, how do you actually go about it? So first is the belief that, I can move to having skills. And what will I do for that? I'll have to drop some baggages. Okay, so let's look at this. Okay, if you don't get into this idea, if you don't buy into this idea that I can have skills and get better opportunities, what happens is that I will keep resisting all my baggages. I'm not from an NLU. I'm a first generation lawyer. I have these struggles. This. That baggage keeps on being there. What happens? I lose an opportunity to determine and control my future. And I'm dependent on factors I can't change. Man, I'm not from an NLU. Doesn't matter. Right? I didn't come to the top of my class. Doesn't matter. I don't have connections with all the best lawyers. My parents are not a lawyer. My uncle is not a lawyer. No problem. What is it that you can change? Look at that. Right? So acquisition of skills is something you can change. And what that enables you to do is you start to identify new opportunities which others don't see. And this is not abstract, guys. Okay, so if I'm telling you that you can consult startups, for example, this we keep saying in other sessions, or you can apply to a senior with your work portfolio. People, others don't think of it. Why? Because they can take the benefit that my placement committee will get me an opportunity, or I can use my father's network. So what are the opportunities you can see? You can find out unconventional, creative ways to reach out to people, non-traditional practice areas to actually be a market leader in. You have all these opportunities available because the baggage of the past is not there. And this baggage is not just yours. It's even of those people who are very successful today, or who are expecting success because they are banking on an NLU tag or a or having senior somebody else to help them, right? So they also will have the baggage of comfort that I'm relying on this, but you are not relying on that. Okay, but you can therefore see new opportunities that others can't. Now I'm giving you some examples, okay, who benefited from this approach. So there's like Yamini, a third-year student who is from a Pune-based law school, applied for an internship through LinkedIn during lockdown, and was not having any success. A consultant, she was studying one of our courses, reached out to our placement cell and CV writing assess and CV writing. She used the CV that guidance that we gave her, and this actually helped her get an internship in a boutique firm in Goa, which specializes in corporate commercial agreements, real estate, and disputes. We actually heard from her reporting manager, from the partner in the firm, that she outperformed the final year student. It is a third year student in a Pune-based law school. She outperformed the final year student, and the firm offered her to extend the internship. She also decided to work elsewhere. She had an abundance of opportunities, so she took up another opportunity. Okay, now this is the question of abundance that we are talking about. She had multiple opportunities from not having any opportunity initially. Pearl, another student from Chandigarh University, for personal reasons. Okay, I think I've got the university wrong. It's Punjab University, but pardon me for that error. But for personal reasons, she could not move to a metro city, and she wanted either remote internship or one in her city. So we helped her through our placement cell with a long-term online internship, which she pursued with college, and she then secured another internship with a Delhi-based arbitration firm. Okay, now there is one more thing that I've written below, which is not visible. So what comes in the way is, the decision to commit also. A lot of times I'm telling you about the success story and all, you will be like, okay, but how will it work for me? So there's a lot of distance and a gap which comes before you decide to commit to something new, to try out something new. We'll get to that later. Okay. Now the other shift is that, we think of learning by studying. We'll read all the books, we'll read all the study materials, we'll access all the online templates, and we'll learn from that, versus learning by doing framework. Now, this is something very unique which we follow in our training methodology. You can do it other ways also. You can do it on your own. But the important thing is that you've got to learn whatever skills you have by doing this work. Okay, what's the doing part? How do we incorporate it? So, look, I'll get to that in a bit. Let's just see. The challenge when you learn by studying now is that you don't feel confident. You've learned the information, but you're not very confident of how to apply it. Okay, your brain also doesn't have the patterns formed. Like, you can think about it when you're doing a workout or learning karate. You got to practice a certain movement. You can read about the movement, but practicing it makes you actually do it. Same thing applies for swimming. You can learn how to swim on the internet, but you can't do it unless you swim, right? So what is going to give you a real experience of doing that? Now, fortunately, learning law is not like learning how to draft a contract. Can be done remotely. Real contracts are drafted remotely. You talk to a client on the phone or on Zoom. You can meet them in person, but there's no personal, physical, face-to-face aspect about it, right? So that's the thing that you need to see. Do I learn by actually doing it, or do I learn by studying and reading? Okay, so that helps you to form the patterns that you need to. If you actually get mock exercises, which I'll share with you in the end. I told you one exercise I'll share with you. So if you get a mock exercise, you get feedback from people on how you performed it from a trained evaluator, then you actually improve, because you've drafted 14 real documents and one article. Okay, that's like your real portfolio of work. It will become probably a 50-page file, which you will send somebody, right? So that's the difference. Now, when you do make this change, what happens? And when you don't do this, what happens? So you study a lot when you don't change, but you face difficulty in applying the knowledge. This part we discussed. If you do it, you can work as a trained lawyer. Okay, now in our courses, I'll be speaking to you about them later. You can learn in 3 months what a lawyer can do properly after a year of practice because of this method. It's about the method, and you can learn this on your own. So by no means am I saying that you must do our course. Okay, I'm not saying that. You feel free to use your own methods. Okay, it's just that it takes a lot longer. It's harder. It takes more willpower. Has a lot more struggle. Okay, so that's totally your fault. Okay, now look at this. So remember, I was talking to you about that commitment point, that it comes in the way that can I have that faith, right? Like, how do I do something new? So saving money on a course versus focusing on what the learning enables you to do, this is an important one. That if I can learn how to draft 4 contracts, 4 civil petitions or pleadings, and 4 criminal law petitions, and publish 1 article in 2 months by giving 1 hour a day, is that worth it? Like, that's the real thing you got to consider. Okay, so for example, Nilesh, a final year student, had to prepare for an interview for a job. He had 24 hours. He came to us last moment he came to our placement committee, which gives support only to our core students. It's exclusively for helping our students out to get internships and jobs. So we had 24 hours at our placement cell to coach him. And the student got this job at one of the country's premium white collar crime firms. Okay, and I just wanted to share some quick feedback that how this about what people said. We did this legal drafting course, which I've been mentioning, about 4 contracts, 4 petitions in civil law, and 4 petitions in criminal law. So we did this last month, okay, and here are some feedbacks that some feedback from students who said that they really got mentored and guided through the entire course. And last batch, because of the lockdown, was a crash course format, so we had concentrated 2 classes a week. Now we will be having 1 class a week because most people have got classes and office, all of that has started again. But you can just see the kind of feedback that we got for the method. Okay, so I'm letting you know, because and you can note that people are actually naming the faculty because there has been a lot of personal intervention in the courses. Okay, and these are 2 links of videos where actually students have said how they could use the course individually. Those who want can request it in chat, and I will share these links with you later. So now let's move on. Okay, so next part is build a work portfolio to substantiate your job and internship applications. Now, what does this mean? So firstly, your job and internship applications, let's look at them. A lot of times they look the same as that of anybody else, right? Other than the maybe the name of the college, sometimes the internships. A lot of emails don't get opened. A law firm or a lawyer's mailbox is often full. Some lawyers really want good interns, and if they try to find interns, they get interns who are not trained or juniors who are not trained. And others have a packed inbox. They don't even get time to open every email, right? Now the thing is that that's why the work portfolio that we talked about helps in actually having emails that get opened and replied to. Okay, so your applications look different. There's evidence explaining what you've done, and the chances of obtaining a reply increase. Now, how do we enable you to make this shift? You can have sample drafts of real contracts and petitions. You can write your first article. You create a video CV. So we did a celebration session at the completion of the last batch of our legal drafting course, where we helped them to create a video CV. And this CV actually makes them explain the important parts in their CV in 2 minutes, and 1 contract that they drafted on video, so that the interviewer can experience that you gave an interview. So the trick here is really to get started. You'll say that 1 article, man, I already have 1 article. The trick here, a lot of people are struggling to write articles. It takes 3 months for you to write 1 article, 4 months to get it published. Then it's again a painful process to repeat the exercise. So we have a training framework where you're given a topic and a structure every month, in the month, and you can ask any doubts you have. Visit us in office hours. So we have a pre-scheduled time where you can come to us and ask us any questions you have with respect to your article. So where you learn the method basically of performing and writing the article. Okay, now, so once you start, you can repeat this to improve your quality and to increase the quantity. That's the game. Okay. Now imagine you're not getting challenging work, right? So people will not know magically that there is a superb intern and junior in my office, right? So you'll have to go, and you'll have this confidence. When you've done this much, you'll have the confidence to extract work from them. How? You can ask them that, what are you doing? Maybe I can help you. I've done a lot of work earlier, so maybe let me try to see it. Okay? And you'll have to have those tough conversations with seniors. Many people don't have those conversations. Why not? You can. But what does it take to have that conversation? If you're not trained, okay, and you go to a senior who's not willing to give you work, you will feel upset and you feel very scared to ask for new work. But here's an option. If you are trained, you will have the confidence to say, okay, let me see what it is. Okay, nobody minds sending you something they've got, provided they don't have to explain everything, delegate it, and then bear the risk of your failure to perform on themselves. Then they would be happy to share that. Okay, now this is an interesting one. Okay, and people struggle with this, offering value to your own network. How do you offer value to your network? Because you will think that I am a junior lawyer, I'm an intern, how can I offer value to somebody who is so senior? I think it's a big favor that they give me an internship. No, when you are trained, you should understand that people want and value trained juniors and interns they can rely on. We've got so many people who say that, give me a good intern, I'm going to pay 5,000, 8,000, 10,000 to an intern, there's no problem, but please find me a good intern. Our placement committee placed 35 people for internships in the lockdown previous 45 days. Okay, it's these people whom we had to match with the students who had the right skills. It's not a referral. Okay, it's not an automatic matching. You have to actually go through skills and the requirements of the recruiter and then match. Okay, so 35 internships, and most people struggled to get internships during this time. People struggled to people's PPOs were deferred, all of that. Still, you should know, in 45 days 35 offers came to students of our courses. Okay, which means people are giving opportunities if they find the right candidate. That's the important part to know. So how can you offer value to your network? Okay, let's say you don't. Okay, which what happens when you don't? You're completely dependent on others for opportunities. You think that whatever they're going to do is going to be a favor for you, for you, and a rejection will hurt you, and it will be like a personal attack. You'll feel bad about yourself, and you will want that. And yeah, so, and you will also hesitate to reach out more to people also, because you don't know how to offer value. Your approach to them will be like, people will want to like not reply, they will want to get away from you, they'll not know what you're offering, right? On the other hand, when you do that and you're really offering value, we'll get to what kind of value you can offer. Okay, but if you don't just ask for jobs and internships, actually offer to help people, talking to you will be a beneficial opportunity for seniors, because they think that you can contribute to their practice as a junior or an intern. Everybody needs that. They want somebody who can help them. Okay, but who's the right person? They don't know. Opportunities also come to you, an abundance of them, and you can choose, should I pick this? Should I pick that? Now, here's a little bit of coaching on this, right? You can't afford to be shy or anxious when you build your LinkedIn profile. It's got to be an all-star LinkedIn profile. You cannot keep it private. Have everything be public. Post every week on LinkedIn. We've got a training framework to help you out if that's what's needed, because every week you perform 2 exercises, you get trained on posting on LinkedIn also, because we ask you to mandatorily post on LinkedIn. Many of you will see on LinkedIn there are LawSeeker students posting there actively, but you can do this on your own as well. Okay, it's just a lot easier when you do it through our guidance, but otherwise also you can do it and you will get results. Share your work with seniors and associates, ask them for feedback. And the thing is that to be able to get, let's say, an opportunity for feedback with a senior associate, you've got to really write on something he or she has worked on. So if I write on, I'll give you an example. If I write on a put option clause in an agreement, I will look at which investor recently exited or which founder recently exited and which lawyer and law firm did that deal. And then I will write to that associate or senior associate working in that team. And they would have been named also in Legally India or Bar and Bench. I'd write to them and say that this is the article I wrote. I've specifically covered the deal that you worked on. Okay, and it'll be great to have a few minutes with you on taking your feedback on how these clauses are worded. Okay, because you'd have known way more about the deal than I can find in the news and all of that. So it'll be great if we can. That will get somebody interested, that a student or a young lawyer, fresher, is asking me these kind of sophisticated questions. Okay? You can do this for a civil litigator, criminal litigator. You can do this even with confidentiality agreements, a memorandum of understanding, any of these. Now, offer to assist people with research or book writing work in any way. People want this assistance. The thing is that in a lot of law firms, for example, they cannot have interns remotely working because that IT is not set up. But a lot of times they need help on specific propositions of law, that for that they don't need to share any data with you. right? They don't need to share the client's brief with you. They can tell you, hey, listen, this is the proposition I need more information for. I need a template for this, or I need to have 5, 6 variations of clauses for this, or I need 5 case laws for this. Okay. Or I need to write a book, and I can't use the firm's intern for writing my own book, maybe. Okay. So you can say, okay, I'll help you in my free time, or I'll help you 6 hours a day. I will help you. And so you need to be that good with writing so that you can be of use to that person, right? It can't be that you do a kid's job and the person who has no time is then basically having a project failure because he has to review and really mark up everything. But if you can actually meaningfully assist that person, it's going to make a difference. Now that will make you have, and imagine you do this successfully, how happy will people be to offer you jobs or to go out of their way to refer you to others who want interns or juniors? And will you build a relationship with them professionally? And now I'll tell you, somebody already did that. One of our students we spoke about earlier, he offered to work for free as a personal intern of a senior associate of a tier 1 law firm. They liked her work and she got a referral to the banking team for the next internship break. They agreed to refer her to the banking partner and said that you for an internship because the senior associate personally liked her work. Now you tell me, maybe you're not, this was a one-off incident. What if you're not as lucky? Well, if you approach 10 people, 15 people, and you've been doing this for 2 months, you're going to get lucky, right? Because you're going to be chasing opportunity. And also, in addition to your own activities, you can take the support of our placement cell. Like 35 students got internships in the last month and a half during lockdown. The next step is, objective self-reflection and follow-on action. So this is something where a lot of times, we go into this, that what will happen. There's an uncertainty, there's anxiety. We dwell in that. But I'm saying here, let's not dwell on that, and let's see actually have a reflection on what we achieved. This is something you need to do and keep repeating it. For example, I'll give you, okay, so suppose you learned something in 2 months, you got some results. Now, do you stick with it or do you grow further? Do you track what worked and what did? A lot of times you may not do any work and therefore not get results. So do you track that, or do you say, I just found it too difficult, I'm back to my old self? Do you track why you succeeded if you did? Okay, so if you don't change, if you don't do this, the reflection of what activities you performed, what worked and what didn't, your learning will be serendipitous. It's accidental, adventurous, by chance, you learn something. You can't grow further and you also get bored. You may feel that, you're not your growth will stop. Okay, but what if you keep doing that? So you can repeat what works, discard what doesn't, set new goals, acquire new skills, cash in on new opportunities. There's no limit to your growth. So imagine you get 3 paid internships. After that, you say, okay, why don't I try to get my own clients and do paid work for startups? Why don't I do something else? Why don't I go for a top tier 1 law firm job in competition? You can just change your goals. You can try new stuff, right? So what happened in with one of our students was that once she got these internships, she realized how much value she was adding, and she started topping in her contract drafting class. Like she started getting 10 on 10 or 9 on 10 in her contract drafts that she submitted. Another example of someone, Tarun, a working professional with 3.5 years of experience in a contract drafting course, got a job as a junior with a litigation firm in Delhi, earning 40,000 rupees per month approximately. Okay, this is not a very this is an approximate amount, not exact amounts. Okay. How does this transition into real career benefits? Now imagine this. Okay, you have 1 published article and about 14 real agreement drafts. You have an all-star LinkedIn profile where you regularly post once a week at least is what we train you, and you can do way more. Okay, we advise that you do thrice a day. There are at least 50 seniors in your own network who can give you internships and a job, and many other connections in your network. People comment on your posts, you comment and engage with others' posts. Your article published online has, say, 300 views. This is very modest, okay? In 3 months, 300 views is not a very big deal. A couple of seniors have appreciated your article and suggested that you incorporate some changes, and you've started to have conversations with them. You do not hesitate to start conversations or ask for feedback or engage in the public. Your confidence in writing, publish. So what happens is that, people struggle. The biggest struggle is, can I reach out? Can I write this? Can I write that? Will I make a mistake? My confidence in writing, publishing online. So there are 3-4 issues. Can I have this in public? Can I write this? Can I publish this? When I'm doing drafting work, my senior has given to me, am I anxious? Am I scared? Is that slowing me down? Am I uncertain? Okay. So am I not being able to apply my mind? All of that actually takes up most of our time and efficiency. right? So if that improves, then what happens? Do you think you will be able to shine out in your application and offer enough value to a senior? That's the question, right? So we were discussing how to find paid part-time work as a junior lawyer and an intern, and we have identified some steps you can take to proceed along that path. Starting with dropping baggages, acquiring skills, building your own credibility and profile, and building your own network. And remember, you can do all of this on your own, okay? Just takes a little willpower and measurable actions, and seniors actually want interns. Okay? Now you have an important decision to make. What kind of experiences and earnings and opportunities do you want in your career? Do you want an abundance? Do you want scarcity? Do you want to feel a resentment about things you can't control, or do you want to feel happy that despite all limitations, you're doing even better than so many people from NLUs or second generation lawyers? You still have more earnings than them, or you have a richer network than them. You are more resourceful. You have more skills. Do you want to feel that way? So to know more, you should reach out to Mayur Sachdeva about, if you want to speak about how you can use our courses to achieve that, then you can reach out to Mayur Sachdeva. He will be able to guide you on personally on how to do this. Okay, and I'm going to get to the chats in a moment. I am writing Mayur Sachdeva's number 77930239979. Okay, this I am writing on chat. And I'll get to the questions also. Huh? Link to the free downloadables. Give me a moment. I'm putting this on chat. Okay, I said I'll share a sample exercise and a template with you. So I'm just going to be doing that. Give me a second. And then I will move on to the questions that you were asking. Okay, give me a moment. Yeah, so this is a public link where you can see a sample exercise. You can, of a confidentiality agreement, you can see a template. It's a very detailed one. Confidentiality agreements can be simple, complex, but this is one of the simple agreements. But knowing even 14 simple things to draft will be important, okay? And we have a batch of this starting next month. So if you want to get started in July, or you want to block your seat for that, or you want to hop onto the existing batch, this is a good time. Okay. If you want to know which agreements you will learn, let me just share the link of this. So if you have an advanced need, you can look at something on contract drafting, or if you want to look at something basic where you want to start out with all contract drafting, civil litigation, criminal litigation together, because we face that need. We used to specialize into different areas, but people said, no, I want to get a taste of drafting skills. And drafting really is an ability like swimming. What do I mean by that? It's like, imagine the first time, for those of you who can swim, when you had to learn how to swim, it was very challenging, right? Like there was a whole different world for those people who could swim. They could go in the deep water, they could jump, they could dive. And we were so scared, like we can't swim. When will that happen? And then suddenly you learned how to float. So this is that kind of a course where you actually learn how to float, right, in the legal world, and you can get by doing with your skills. You can get by with jobs or independent work. Vishnu, why is the link not opening? This course the fees is 9,000 rupees. Okay, and the standard published money back guarantee also applies. You should see the link on our website. That is, if you attend all the classes and perform all the exercises. You need to attend all the classes live, and you need to perform all the exercises on time in the first month. And then if you get no value, then you can claim a refund. So that's the standard published money back guarantee. Please see the text of it on the website. Okay, and then you can take a decision, and you can also ask Mayur to personally speak to you. Okay. On this. And now I have completed sharing the link and all of that. Now I'm going to deal with some of the questions. I'm going to take up questions on chat. Okay. Vikash, so yeah, you can just, you have to think of this, that what is the coaching required, right? You can take a course from various providers, but do you get the kind of guidance you need to get that success? That's the difference. There's a lot of interaction, a lot of feedback, a lot of training, a lot of manual work that goes into it. It's not just putting something on PDF and you can easily study at your own convenience. It's not just that. You need a lot of practice, training, coaching. When you perform your first exercise, you get your evaluation from an evaluator with feedback on how to improve. You'll understand what kind of work it takes. So there's a lot of service. Okay? And that makes it all worth it. And I can assure you that you will be getting 10 times the amount that you invest in the course. The deal is you got to invest in the course and do it. And I told you that, that kind of, you will feel that thing, that how do I go about and make a commitment. Karanveer is asking me, why is the course fee lesser than the contract drafting course? See, the number of items or the things you learn is lesser here, right? There are 100 contracts you learn in the contract drafting course. Here, this is for an introductory perspective for people who want to learn. Okay, let me read out some of the documents that you learn how to draft. Maybe that will help. Yeah, so should I just share my screen? It'll be easier. And I'll share my screen and then I will also look at the other questions. Okay, so quickly I'm sharing the exercises. You draft an MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, Service and Material Supply Agreement, Marketing Agreement. So these are the general commercial contracts that you need to frequently draft. But we have 4-5 of them, okay? Not 100, for example. Okay? Draft a marketing agreement or a franchisee agreement, one of these, a commercial lease, employment agreement, notice invoking force majeure, addendum or amendment to a contract. This was important work to be done for COVID, right? Everywhere, every contract, there was a payment. So many contracts had a payment default. So how did you go about renegotiating this? This work was important. Drafting a complaint in writing for cognizable and non-cognizable offenses, a bail application, anticipatory bail application, criminal revision application, criminal appeal, a legal opinion in a standard legal form template, drafting a plaint along with a temporary injunction application, a written statement, and a civil. And alongside that, you get trained on writing and publishing one article. So think that if you actually are able to do this, and you will, because if you attempt the exercises, you'll be able to do this. If you're actually able to do this, does this improve the ability that you have to perform? Okay, and now I'm going to go through the questions. Yeah. Please mention ways to improve drafting. What should be the preparation before drafting a particular draft? This is very specific, it varies from a draft to draft. Okay, like I gave you an example of 4 contracts finished. Now these 4 contracts will have a certain kind of commercial and industry insight you need to use. Okay, then there is more preparation and methods you will follow with a client about how do you go about understanding their business, asking them questions, getting all the information in. How do you work with a template? Okay, how do you write? And the first thing is to be able to write a clause on your own. Okay, that's the biggest challenge and the first breakthrough. The first big breakthrough is that. Okay, which link do you all want? Can you all tell me? So, Dinesh, I have mentioned briefly about this. You can send us, you can reach out to our team to get more information. Okay. How to get, Sridhar, how to get online contract work where you can approach for works assignments? Is there any institution? See, you can register on our website to do this online. And to register like on something like a Lawratto. Okay, but the question is that can you also independently generate work? And you can't solicit, but can you actually reach out, provide some information to clients? Like I just gave you an example, right? This is somebody who's a 3rd-year student, and somebody asked, and a businessman asked her for help. Okay, and she said that I'm writing articles covering legal issues relevant to startups. Okay, and somebody and she didn't even offer to help. Okay, she was saying that I'm doing this work, and somebody reached out to her and said, okay, can you help me? And this is an April 2020 batch contract drafting course student. In 2 months, this has happened. Okay, so yeah, now HP6, how to decide in which direction you can create a pattern. So I have a standard take on this, okay, but it requires a longer conversation. But I have one take on this, which is this, that you have to decide as per the market, as per the nature of what is needed today for industry. You cannot decide based on, I find this subject interesting, I find that subject interesting. This is my view on it, and I'll tell you why. Most of the times you find interest in a subject because you did well in a MOOC, or somebody appreciated you, or you had a good teacher in that subject. Okay, now these are external factors. These are not factors that you cannot provide for on your own. So if the market needs X and you need to succeed in your career, I think that you need to learn and provide that. And as a lawyer, you will always be using legal skills in different ways to solve a problem. So the question is, you need to be interested in solving problems. And it doesn't matter that today you're doing X, tomorrow you're doing Y, it doesn't matter. Okay. So you need to therefore be interested in solving problems and any direction where clients need you to help out in. Like in the COVID situation, what happened? A lot of employment advice was needed and a lot of contract renegotiation, force majeure notices, defense to force majeure notices. That was the advice that was needed by clients. That's what you'd offer them. Okay. Okay, some of you have asked how to get in touch with me. I'm sharing my number on WhatsApp. I will also share my Calendly link for a one-on-one conversation that you can schedule with me. That is for scheduling a one-on-one conversation. My available time slots will be mapped out there. Any book to refer. So see, you remember you'll find books in the market for contract drafting. The challenge is that which books, that does a book teach you how to draft? Right? Like, does a book teach you karate? And why not? Because you got to do it. You got to fight. There's this concept of kumite in karate where you actually spar with an opponent. So that real life simulation is important. Fighter pilot training is on the ground, but in a simulation environment. So does a book give you a simulation environment is my question, right? Does it or does it not? That will give you the answer. Okay, now Karanbir, Vikash spoke to you. Mohammad Rafi, does it require standard language skill or do you improve it also part and parcel? Yes, your language skills in terms of how you use language to cover risk, allocate responsibility, how to identify terms to include in a contract, that's covered. Okay. If you want to learn if you want to learn English, it's different. Okay, Mohammad Rafi. I don't know which question you're asking. If you're saying that the language you put in a contract, is that covered? Yes, that's covered. Janvi, congratulations. Are you a student of one of our courses? Aryan, I'm a first year student opting a contract drafting and negotiating course. Please give your insights. Aryan, would you like to personally schedule a conversation so that we can go on this, because it may not be relevant for everybody? Deepti, these days most manufacturers are looking for super stockists. Do you have super stockist agreement? So the thing is that we will be training you on how to actually draft these contracts. And I told you this is introductory, right? If you want to learn full out how to go about things, you don't want one template. Trust me, tomorrow a new contract will come. Next day another new contract will come. If you take up the advanced contract drafting course, in that 100 contracts are explained from 7-8 different industries, which means a new contract comes, you can think of patterns from different industries, add it all up. Okay, and a lot of these agreements have a name where the title and actually what's happening is actually a pattern. Okay? It may be from a manufacturer, it's a combination of a manufacturing and a distribution agreement, but you may call it a super stockist agreement. Deeply, so just keep it in mind. Okay, and what we do is that if you're in one of these courses, you need help in drafting something, you can reach out to us, we'll guide you. Okay, like there was a student recently who was asking for guidance on a contract to draft for a client. Okay, it was a technology contract and we got on the call and guided that person. So that happens from time to time. But remember that you're building your muscle to draft a contract versus us giving you only the answer and you copy pasting the answer. Okay, that part is very important. Janvi, will you please schedule a conversation on my Calendly link? I've given you the Calendly link. Should you be afraid of taking work with agreement you have much idea about? You mean you don't have much idea about? No, you should still go for it. Okay, always say yes, you can learn the work and do it. Vikash, how to improve English for contract drafting? Vikash, if you can write in normal English and communicate with people, my guess is you don't need to improve your English. Okay, it is about practice with contract drafting. Shruti, I answered this question. Chintala, there are many books. Okay, books, whether they will improve your drafting skills is an open-ended question. We've seen it doesn't. Okay, we've had courses which did not have classrooms and we saw that it is not producing a result. For how many years? 6 years we had courses without direct classrooms. Okay, without a classroom with plus a weekly classroom where people interact with an evaluator feedback on your draft and a simulation draft to work on, people don't end up learning. They read something, remember something, but how do they apply it? That doesn't happen. Okay, like I can give you a book on anger management, but will you apply it to actually improve your anger situation? You need that practice. You need to be in that grind where you face that situation where you're going to get triggered and angry, and then you can deal with it better, right? So that's the thing, that's what you need actually. That's why you need the simulation. Chintala, you've been Asta, there are 2 links to YouTube videos. Please share both the links. Chintala, you've been practicing since 2016 September, and you did intern at one senior. We don't have subject. Now I'm practicing independently, but facing how to draft the cases. Please tell me how to overcome it. Yeah. So Chintala, you should look at, so I can see that, there is scope to improve in English communication. So you should look at that 1 year diploma we have on legal English, where you will actually learn how to use English to communicate with corporate clients, with in RTIs, how to send like a defamation notice. But that's not from the legal point of view, but from your English point of view. Okay, so how to write and correct English from the perspective of the tasks that a lawyer is going to perform. Through that, you will learn English. Okay, so the focus will be on English. Chintala, that is the course I would recommend for you. Okay, everybody, it's 8:58. I want to ask you all for some quick feedback. Any closing questions? Did you find this useful? Do you think that it's irrespective of whether you take the course or not? Do you think that you have some ideas on how to go forward? Please let me know. Your feedback is important. It helps us to bring more and more knowledge and training to you. Our intention is that you actually benefit from these sessions, okay? I know we speak about our courses, that's what we do, and it's important, to train lawyers and to share about what we're doing, but you also spent your 1 hour of time here, so we want to know if you got value from this. Okay, Janki, thank you. Janvi, thank you. What about the others? There are so many of you here. Thank you, Rajesh, Teja. Okay, got it. Got some sense. Any suggestions on which topics you want us to conduct further, please let me know. Karanveer, yes, for the statutes. In advanced contract drafting, we cover the statute pertinent to the agreement. In the agreements we just talked about, we will cover statutory provisions where they're involved. A lot of general agreements don't have a statutory provision relevant, but we cover that so that you can draft your contract. Okay, but you have to decide between whether I go into statutory questioning or the drafting part, being mindful of the statute. So that being mindful of the statute part is covered, yes. Okay, we'll do something on arbitration soon, Vikash. Thank you, everybody. Cheers, and have a great week ahead.